I'm a little bit angry right now. It is all the judges who are all connected directly to the sheriff, to the judges, to the Dawn Center. It's all one big happy family for them, right? And that's what I'm dealing with. This guy right here who can't even get an attorney to represent me because they don't want a target on their back. Hey, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of Get Real. I'm a little bit angry right now. Well, I'm going to explain why. I'm sure you're interested. As you know, I explained in a recent publication on rnews.news, and I think I did a little video on Get Real last week, that, of course, I'm being sued by the Dawn Center. Yes, as many of you know, the Dawn Center is that shelter, whatever you want to call it, that has been engaged in allegedly, let me say that now for the record because I'm being watched, allegedly engaged in prostitution, human trafficking, fraud, federal fraud, in the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions, drug abuse, physical abuse, just one of the worst places that former residents and employees have told me, which I have relayed in reports. Again, making that clear for the petitioners in this lawsuit against me, that this is free speech on the part of those who are relaying the information to me, and I am just a platform for them to speak on what they have experienced. So let's get down to the point of what has been transpiring recently. So Monday, I was called, again, this case is about 5 years old, almost 6 years old now. This case was filed in 2020 from attorney Jennifer C. Ray. Yes, you're right. The one that I did reports on recently who lied to the Board of County Commissioners about funding that they were going to receive, some federal funding. She was a liar, and I'll say that blatantly. Then she also lied to a reporter out of Chicago who interviewed her after the filing of their lawsuit against me. I'm going to give you some background on the lawsuit. Just give me a second. But she lied and said that there's no veracity, no truth to any of the allegations that I made in my reports. And he further asked, well, why is Mr. Lemons the only one being sued? Why aren't you suing the people making the allegations? But she said, no comment to that. Again, Hogan liar firm, not law firm, Hogan liar firm. Well, it moves forward. So let me give you a background on the case. Basically, I was sued. The lawsuit was filed in 2020 for allegedly using a drone to surveil. I was conducting surveillance, secret surveillance on the Dawn Center, right? Just trying to, just for days and days and days, right? Well, that's how they're making it sound. No, it's about a 2 or 3 second clip that I used in a trailer, and I hired a drone pilot to come in and do a scoop for cinematic value, a scene over the top of the facility, did not give away the address, never have, never will, of this facility. Not a single person was viewed in the video, no addresses, nothing. And they filed a lawsuit immediately saying that, I violated numerous different statutes and laws, which there really is false to start with. I wasn't conducting surveillance. As all of you know, that when I was with Real News Real Fast, my previous website, I was contacted by women who stayed at this facility. I was contacted by former employees who worked at this facility, who said, this is the fraud, this is the drug abuse, this is the physical abuse, this is the crimes being committed, and over 300 reports to law enforcement in just 1 year. Not a single investigation was conducted. And so what do I do as a real journalist? Well, I start publishing reports on what I'm receiving, the information I'm receiving from former clients, women who stayed there, who said that about 80% of those people staying there are nothing but drug abusers, prostitutes, criminals using the facility as a homeless shelter, not because of abuse. And even some of the men who they were dating, they come there and visit them all the time. So it was really just a big fraud. This is what I'm being told by other people. I am the platform to deliver free speech. And I'm exercising my right of free speech. The thing called the First Amendment, well, they don't like that very much.
I will say to you that all of the allegations and the information that Mr. Lemons has contained in his alleged documentary are false allegations. There is no veracity nor truth to the content of his production.
Then I must ask again why it is that he's the only one being sued when the allegations are being made by former employees and former residents.
And I'll go back to saying currently he is the only named defendant. Beyond that, I'll make no comment on pending litigation.
Obviously. So let's get down to the core of what's been transpiring. Again, I'll let you guys know that I was being sued by this organization. Well, okay, so just this past Monday, we had a hearing. Again, you know I'm not going to win this case. You know that. Let me just put that out front. And the reason you know I'm not going to win this is because the information in my documentary, I mean, come on. I accuse, and it's true because of the information from my research, that every single judge, every circuit judge, every county judge is complicit in, and they are connected to directly with Dawn Center, the plaintiff in this case.
And here's how it works. County Clerk Doug Corvat deputizes dozens of Dawn Center advocates who then become paid county employees. The clerk provides the private cell phone numbers of all county and Fifth Circuit judges. Then, the deputized Dawn Center clerks encourage women to lie on petitions for domestic violence injunctions. This sinister scheme allows Dawn Center to qualify for grant funding by keeping domestic violence statistics high. And it secures a seat on the bench for any judge who plays along.
Does that sound fair to you? Of course not. But there's no repercussions. There's no investigations. No oversight, no anything. No one, they ignore it. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, stupid me, I guess I go out and I report on it as fact and I get sued for it, right? Okay, now let's move forward because I know I'm taking too much time here. So the hearing on Monday was my motion to dispose of sanctions because in 2023, they filed for a deposition, right? A deposition for me to come in, and then also, well, I missed the deposition. Well, let me tell you why. They had the wrong email, and I didn't live at the same address that they served me. So I was never served, never received an email. But you know what their excuse was? Well, I should have been smart enough after 3 years of this case sitting there being stale and going nowhere. I should have been smart enough to go in there to the clerk site and update my email address to make sure that if I'm ever served on anything, come on. And that was the excuse. Well, of course I'm going to lose. So Monday I went in, fought my case. And of course, Judge Eineman, who is now presiding over this case, said, nope, I still owe the $180 to the Hogan law firm for missing a deposition, which I eventually did do because I figured out that, I missed something a year later. All right, so that's the garbage. That's the garbage. This is the game playing. This is where it gets bad. All right, so I'm going to skip over a bunch of stuff. All these records are available online. Now remember, don't look up Dawn Center if you're looking on Civitech or the clerk site. It is under Salvare Incorporated, Salvare Incorporated versus Lemons. Okay, so back to this. So during the hearing on Monday, the petitioner's attorney, which is like the third or fourth attorney in line, they keep withdrawing and adding new attorneys and adding and taking away. So the new guy who just came in June of this year, Daniel Blattner, we have this hearing on Monday I'm trying to get these sanctions dismissed. Well, so during the hearing, we have a discussion in the beginning. I asked the judge, will cameras, because this is a Zoom hearing set for the next hearing, which is my motion for summary judgment, which means I want to have the case thrown out based on there being no merits and just an attack on my First Amendment right. I mean, I am the reporter. That's all I am. So they want to have, I want to have the case thrown out because there's really nothing there. Even we could go all night long on the fact of surveillance, not surveillance. Come on. That's ridiculous. So what they want to do is try to stifle my right to free speech. So during this hearing, Mr. Blattner, I guess because he's new and he really probably wasn't told how to treat me, because I'm sure that, they're trying to look for any way to make sure they win this case. They're going to win the case anyways. Like I said, this is the judges are involved. It's an absolute conflict of interest on the highest level. This case shouldn't even be held in Hernando County, but they love it, right? Because it is the Hogan law firm, the premier law firm of Hernando County. It is all the judges who are all connected directly to the sheriff, to the judges, to the Dawn Center. It's all one big happy family for them, right? And that's what I'm dealing with. This guy right here who can't even get an attorney to represent me because they don't want a target on their back. And there you go. Lone reporter versus the full corrupt establishment in Hernando County. Well, back to the point. So regarding this case, the hearing, at the end, because again, I think Blattner didn't know any better and he wasn't briefed properly by the corrupt leaders of their organization. So he offers, is like, let's go ahead and let's change this to an in-person hearing. Because initially it was the upcoming hearing is via Zoom. Well, I asked the judge, I says, Judge, are cameras allowed in the courtroom? Or will people be allowed to attend the Zoom hearing? And, I was also curious if if it could be recorded. Well, it was made clear to me in a letter today from the judge's office that no, we cannot record Zoom hearings. But yes, we can have cameras in the courtroom. That's what he told me during the hearing. Mr. Lemons, you can have cameras in the courtroom. They can set up here or there or whatever. They can't. He gave a lot of rules. Yes, he would allow cameras in the court. Well, I agreed. The judge asked me, is this okay with you to change to an in-person hearing? I said, yes, of course. Of course. Why would I not want transparency? Why would I not want the ability to publish this hearing for the public to see how absolutely corrupt the sheriff, the sheriff and this organization is, and what a conflict it is to have this judge and any judge in this circuit to be presiding over this case. So, moving forward, I lost the case. Obviously, I just told you that, but today I filed 2 motions because I'm just a pro se. I had defended. I have no attorney. So today I filed 2 motions. One, to have the case moved to an in-person hearing on the 27th of October at 9 a.m. Again, for those who would love to attend in the old courtroom, that's courtroom A. I think it's 320, room 320, courtroom A. That is 9 a.m. on October 27th. If you'd like to attend, show up. Please do. There will be cameras there too. Now, that's if Judge Eineman approves my motion that I filed today to amend the motion so that it is in person, which I was offered, and I absolutely said yes. Well, Mr. Blattner, who obviously made a big boo-boo and probably got in trouble for it, writes an email today after I submitted my request saying, he said, in the spirit of cooperation, I offered no objection for the 27th hearing to be in person. He's the one that offered it. It wasn't an objection. He offered it. He says, to my surprise, Mr. Lemon said Zoom is fine. That makes no sense, does it? Does that make any sense to you at all? No. I did not say Zoom was fine. I agreed, yes. My head shaking, saying, yes, let's move it to an in-court, in-person hearing. He said, I even doubled down and said, no, I want it to be Zoom. Then he says, the next day, the parties received a letter from the court essentially advising that cameras are not allowed when using Zoom. So he acknowledges that. He don't want that. They don't want any transparency. He said, that said, given the rather volatile history between the parties, really? There's been no communication. To include Mr. Lemon's very recent use of video recordings intended for no purpose other than to continue his ongoing attempts to hurt and damage not only my client's reputation and positive standing in the community, but recently my firm as well. I respectfully request that the hearing remain as being in a Zoom with the current orders sustaining if the court agrees. Then Mr. Lemons, obviously free to hire and retain a service of a court reporter. See, Oh, he's backtracking now. He does not want cameras. He doesn't want you to see what's really going on. He doesn't want you to see actual facts, testimony, facts that's given in this case why they are filed their lawsuit against me to start with. Man, you guys as a community, the ones who are in this Hernando County, you should be furious at what they are doing to stifle someone's free speech, their First Amendment. This case has nothing more to do with anything other than their allegation that I used a drone to surveil the facility, which is false anyways. They're trying to make this case, trying to evolve this case into some bigger litigation than it even is. They screwed up. If they want to sue me for speaking my mind, or not me, relaying the messages given to me and the testimony from dozens, and probably hundreds of women who contact me all the time, still today, and say that the Dawn Center is corrupt, it's disgusting, it's a fraud, they treat women horribly, and that most of the women there are not domestic violence victims. So, that's where we stand. Let's see what the judge decides to do. We're waiting on a response. We'll see. Will it be Zoom, where I cannot videotape? Or will it be in person, where you, the community, can attend and observe? And I hope you do. By the way, if it is Zoom and it ends up being that way, you are allowed to attend via Zoom. If it ends up being the answer, I will update this to let you know what the information is to get on and watch the court hearing. Let's hope the judge does something right here and says that the hearing will be held in person, because it's my request. It is my motion, and I'd rather it be held in person where we can have cameras. Wouldn't you? All right. So let me just show you this shirt real quick. This was given to me by Heavenly Tea Designs. And let me just tell you, these are good people. If you want some shirts, you got to show some support for them. Of course, I support Charlie Kirk and what happened to him. But go to Heavenly Tea Designs at iCloud.com. Show them your support. That's all we got. Looking forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.